guys, this is Ashley from ashleykay.com, and in this video I want to give you a texting tip on how best to respond if your ex texts you out of the blue. If your ex texts you out of the blue and you don't know how to respond, you're worried about saying something wrong, screwing up that conversation, then don't worry. I'm going to give you some really good tips today. First of all, I want to give you some big don'ts when you are responding to your ex, okay? Don't be cold, don't be short. If you act cold, if you're short, then it comes across as if you're still not over the relationship. So a lot of times when your ex is messaging you, they're just trying to see how you're going. That's it. They don't necessarily want to get back together at that stage. It probably also means that they miss you, but you don't want to jump the gun. And I've seen this in a couple of messages recently where people have just assumed that, when their ex messages them and they have a great conversation, that means the ex wants them back, when that often does not mean that at all. So if you come across too cold or too enthusiastic, either way, it's going to scare your ex off, okay? Because first of all, if you're too cold, that means they know then that you're still not over them, you're still emotional, you're still upset, and they're not going to want to keep talking to you because they feel awkward about talking to you. On the other hand, if you're too enthusiastic, they also don't want to keep talking to you because they don't want to give you the wrong impression. They don't want to lead you on, because to lead you on may mean they have to reject you again. They don't want to do that. So you want to avoid either extremes. Also, when you respond back, try not to spend 2 hours or more texting. You want to avoid long texting conversations. I know it'll be tempting because most likely you haven't spoken to each other for a long time, and if you're like good friends, if you have missed each other a lot, you probably want to talk for a long time, but I highly recommend you don't do that. Leave that for later, okay? There's a time and place for that, but it's not in that first conversation. So with that said, what should you do? So most likely your ex sends a message like, hey, are you okay? How are you going? Or they're saying something like, maybe to try to evoke a reaction out of you, they'll say something like, are you ignoring me? Are you still upset? Something like that. What's important is understanding where your ex is coming from. So basically, they just want to make sure you're okay. They maybe they feel bad, maybe they miss you, maybe they feel guilty, whatever it may be. They're just wanting to see how things are going. So the last thing you want to do is to give the impression that you're not going well. So that's why I highly recommend that you get yourself into super good mood. You want that conversation, the first one, to come across like you're super enthusiastic and you're enthusiastic and you're positive. Okay, so how do you do this? You want to, so one thing I suggest is maybe you have to do some jumping jacks or run around the block, get yourself in physically feeling good. Try not to send this message when you're just lying around on the couch or just after you've had a big crying session or feeling sorry for yourself over your ex. Try not to send a message at that point, because you'll probably, even if you pretend to sound like you're doing well, if they end up calling you, then it's much harder to hide it. And what will be really obvious is this is where you may fall into an argument very quickly if things don't go the way you want it, or they don't say the things you want them to say. So that's why before you answer, you want to get yourself truly in a good mood, not a pretend good mood. You want to be in a good mood. So run around the block, get yourself hyped up, get yourself energetic, maybe call up a friend, have a really good conversation with them so you're feeling good, you're feeling happy, have a good laugh, and then think about all the great things that are happening in your life. So this is where, you should be working on the 4 action steps I talk about in my program, X Recovery System. Really, really important. Just quickly go over it. So if you don't know what you're meant to be doing while you're not in contact, it should be, first of all, working on your physiology, your body, how you feel, going to exercise, getting your body moving, how you look in the mirror, how you dress, your appearance. Really important to bringing up your level of self-confidence. No one feels good when they go out looking crappy, right? Hair not done, holes in your pants, and who feels good when they're doing that? Nobody. Second, which is related to the first point too, is being social. So if you look good, you'll want to be social. If you don't look good, you probably won't want to be social. And being social, being around people, meeting new people, going out with friends is really important to raise your level of self-confidence at this point, especially after a breakup when your confidence is probably really, really low, the bottom, right? So being around people will elevate your confidence really quick. And number 3 is to set goals, lots and lots of goals, okay? Lots of mini goals, short goals, long goals. Fill up your calendar with lots of goals. The more goals you achieve, the better you feel about yourself, the more energetic you feel, the happier you feel about your life. So you want to definitely set and achieve goals. And lastly, the 4th action step is knowledge, okay? So how we really feel confident is when we do the right preparation work. So if we're going to competition with somebody else, how you have an advantage over the other person, how you have an edge over the other person, is to prepare the best. And a lot of preparation comes down to knowledge, to understanding more about the rules of the game or your opponent. This is where knowledge is power. Okay, you need the knowledge. You need to learn about dating, about relationships, about attraction, about psychology. Watch all my videos, okay? Get prepared on what to expect when your ex messages you and what to do, what not to do. Because the more you understand, the more confident you feel going into that situation and that scenario. Okay, so that's really also very important. Okay, so let's go back to how to actually respond. Now, you should have all your, all your preparation done, work done, so you should be feeling good, not pretending, okay, you should be feeling good, you should be looking good, you should be energetic about your life, you should be setting and achieving goals, so you should naturally feel good about that, and you should have a lot of things to talk about or want to talk about, okay, being excited about your life. Okay, so now, when you respond to your ex, you're prepared for not just, whatever your emotion, like the negative emotions that come out, because it's all positive stuff now at this point. So if they say, hey, are you okay? Then you could say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I heard that you had moved, you got a dog, you're dating this person, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing really well. I just got a new job. I started exercising at this gym. I'm doing this and that. I'm super excited about it. And it will come across in the message because you really are genuinely excited, right? If you are pretending, if you're lying, that will quickly come through when they call you on the phone. Okay, maybe you can pretend through a text message for a short while, but you're not going to be able to pretend on the phone or in person for that long. So that's why you really do have to get yourself into a good place in your life. Okay, now back to the texting. Make sure after you send that message to keep the message short. You don't want to spend hours texting your partner. So maximum is 2-3 messages and about like this long. Okay, you don't want to be too short because that appears cold, but you also don't want to spend hours texting long essays either. So a good rule of thumb here is max 2 or 3 messages, and then, very important, you want to cut the conversation off first. So you want to say, hey, I gotta run, maybe we can catch up soon sometime and catch up properly next time. in person, but I gotta go. Okay, that's what you want to say. And that's how you keep control of that conversation and make yourself really magnetic to your ex. So they're going to be the ones to want to chase you next time. They're going to be the ones wanting to text you, set up a meeting, instead of just keeping the conversation through text only. Okay, you want to take the conversation, you want to move from texting to in person as soon as possible, because to really bond with someone, it has to be done in person. Just look at a lot of long distance relationships. Long distance relationships, how many do you think those would work if the two people never ever met? Probably very little, right? The only reason some of them work is because periodically throughout the year, the two people meet in person, because as human beings, we like to be around someone. We like to physically be close. We like to be able to touch, to see the other person, to hear their voice, to really get a 360 view of the whole thing. So that's why, to bond as quick as possible, you need to get off the phone and meet in person as soon as possible. And if you follow my stuff, you know the best way to do that is to get your ex to suggest a meetup if possible. Okay, that's it for today. My arm's getting sore now from holding this thing up. So I will talk to you next time. Please like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later. Bye.